pride be the reason that you lose. Don't let pride be the reason that you lose.
What's up, y'all? This is the Plain Black Rapper Podcast, and I'm your host, Nytelife. Thank you for joining me again for episode 62. It has been a wonderful ride to have people tuning in, to have people subscribing, to have people talking about this podcast, talking about the clips. So I really appreciate any and every bit of support that I'm getting from friends, family, and people that are just in all walks of life that really enjoy this podcast. So thank you so much. Just to let you know, right up in the right-hand corner, there is a QR. You can scan that. And if you want to get dope merchandise like this, please don't mind it. I have green in the logo, so it doesn't really show that well. But you can get a Plain Black Rapper Podcast shirt. You can get a hat. You can get a sticker. Any way that you want to support. And even goes down to the Cash App name that is down in the left-hand corner, which is $Nytelife 3200. So feel free to contribute as well to that. So now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and get into episode 62, which is called Gifts. Now, we are not all gifted. We're not. And everybody loves to say, well, I'm gifted in what I do. I'm talented in what I do. Sometimes that's not always the case. You can just merely get your 10,000 hours in of practice to be serviceable at what you do. And sometimes you can be great at what you do by learning the ins and outs specifically of the things that you're doing. For me, people tell me that I'm a gifted rhymer. I'm not really a gifted rhymer, to be honest. I just work really hard at this. I came up and I was a writer. I wrote poetry. I had a creative writing class where the creative writing teacher told me that I was going to fail if I didn't get my shit together, which is usually the MO for me is somebody has to kick me in my ass to get me going. And my, creative writing teacher told me that I was going to get an F and that that I could do this. And she just showed me ways to be able to tap into it. And then I started learning, I started loving it, and then began to write. So I began to write short stories. I began to write poems. I ended up writing for the school paper, successful journalist in regards to that, writing for music, arts and entertainment, sports. I was doing that. But I put in the time to be able to do that to get to the point where I was not only serviceable, but way more serviceable than I was. And even at this, I mean, rhyming, listening to stuff when I first started, where it looked like I couldn't rub two quarters together to get nothing. And now, me to be able to have voice fluctuations and do certain things is lyrically to do certain things and to do certain things as far as my sound is concerned. It showed me a lot as far as me being able to work on that. It took a lot of time to be able to work on that. It took a lot of time to be able to just work on podcasting in general. This isn't natural. This isn't a natural thing for me to do like public speaking and stuff like that. It takes time. And it's nothing wrong with that. I tell my kids all the time, I look at them and they're the prime and shining examples of that. Like my two youngest, Angelo and Zahara, those two were actually gifted athletic. Like Angelo could just get into any sport and play any sport and he's in. He's very athletic, very agile, picks up things really quickly. And the same thing with Zahara. She's the same way. With Armani had his grandmother, thank God his grandmother had put him, my oldest daughter, and Angelo in basketball camp around the corner from our house. They were playing at this park and Armani fell in love with basketball. Fell in love. He wasn't great at it, but he loved it. He loved it so much to the point where he wanted to learn everything about it. He was NBA TV, worked on it, worked on his shot, worked on his footwork, worked on his defense, worked on everything. He worked on that stuff. And it took him time to be able to build that. And his efforts and his amazing ability to craft and to harness that took him time to do that. It wasn't something that he was naturally gifted at, which is not bad. You know, it's nothing wrong with being able to work and bust your tail and then be able to get it. In fact, it can be more rewarding because I look at, you know, Zahara and Angelo is like they practice when it's practice time. They don't do any other practicing outside of that. It's like there's no, all right, I'm gonna go out here and work on my game today, or I'm gonna go out here and work on my footwork today, or anything like that. They don't do that. You know, they're just like, okay, well, my time is my time, and they don't practice. They don't practice outside of regular practice time. But Armani just that dude is just all about it. You know, I'm going to the gym. I'm going to work on we're going to work on my body. I'm going out and I'm going to work on dribbling. I'm going to work on free throws. I'm going to work on my jump shot. I'm going to work on this. And he works at that. And so when you have that, you are going to be serviceable and you're going to be, you know, you're going to be looked at as someone who is above, you know, above adequate level at what you do when you have that. Now, if you partner that with gifts, then you get greatness. That's when you get greatness. And sometimes, you know, people take that for granted. And, you know, it's hard. I mean, I wish that there was a lot of things that I was naturally gifted at because I'm not. I have to work at everything I do. I'm not naturally gifted in this stuff. Although people tell me it's shit all the time, but it's not true. It's just there's hard work. Any skill that I had to develop or anything that I had to do to excel myself from where I was and to gain levels, I had to work to get there. Nobody was going to give me nothing. And it wasn't just going to be handed to me because of the simple fact that I was just excelling at it to the point where it couldn't be denied. I just had to work my ass off for it. And I think it's same thing as in regards to like rhyming. Like I was saying, it's like people that I run into, the naturally gifted artists are off the top, you know, off the top of the head. Freestylers can come up and you can point at shit and then they can rhyme about it. Me, I have to write. I craft. I'm a writer. I have to build my narratives. I have to be able to build things in. And when I want to make voice inflections, I have to be able to write it in certain ways that I understand that I have to change my cadence and I have to change certain things when I'm doing them. It's all a part of working and effort and appreciation and hard work. Like if you sat in on a session with me and worked and seen it in place, it looks chaotic. It looks crazy. It's like, how is he able to do all of this stuff? And I'm recording and I'm running over here and I'm doing this and I'm coming back over here and I'm editing and I'm doing this and I'm running back over and recording and stuff like that. And it's remarkable, you know, in a sense it looks chaotic, but at the same time, it's still, you know, it's me. It's the way that I do things. But we have to make sure that if we are gifted, that we are using those gifts to the best of our ability and channeling them to make them work something. A lot of times people are really gifted and they're so gifted to the point where they don't want to do the work or they don't want to do things and they kind of piss it away and waste it. Some people are really, really talented at what they do. And it's just like they want to kind of get by on that talent by itself. And that's not always the greatest thing to do. Some people can do it and live in that space, but they'll only get to a certain extent. They won't get to a certain height and they won't get any higher than that. So you have to couple that with the work and with the experience and with the knowledge and all of that in order to be able to make that gift a lot better. The hard working people that are not gifted are the ones that have to continuously grind and continuously find ways to be adequate. If you're not the best jump shooter, you have to find another way to be able to contribute to the team. You got to play defense. You got to be the one to set the screens. You got to be the one that draws the fouls. You have to be the one that will, you know, that it's safe, that, okay, we know that you can be able to shoot the free throws when we need you to shoot the free throws and make them, and be able to provide other things, rebounding in regards to what it is that is going on the floor. Of course, you may not be the one that scores 30 a night, but you do all of the things as far as stuff in the stats to be able to provide something to help your team. And that's just with anything. When you're working, you may not be the most analytic person that's at the company, but you may be the one that knows how to inspire, that knows how to speak to people, that knows how to treat people, that knows how to put the right people in the right positions to do the right things. And if you have that ability, then that is worth something. That's worth sometimes a lot more than the analytical piece. Sometimes it's like nobody really cares if you're the one that knows how to count all of the beans. That's great. But what do you get out of the people that you're tasked with having to lead? How much of a leader are you? Those numbers can't lead. People lead. You have to want to be led. If you're coming at them numbers first and stats and you have to get this quota or else, it's going to be really hard to get people to work for you like that. You have to be able to have them, the what's in it for me. We talk about what's in it for me all the time. You have to be able to sell them on what's in it for them in order for them to be able to work for you. You have to have people that want to sell out for you, that want to give you their all because of the simple fact that they believe in you. They're not just going to believe in a bunch of stats and okay, well, I did this and this is what the numbers, this is what make us successful. Not necessarily. It's how you're treating your people. If you can't treat your people in a manner that when you want them to go that extra mile for you, they won't go that extra mile for you if you don't treat them well. And those are things that hard work provide. Leading by example, leading by experience, not just what goal we have to reach and what metric we have to reach and how we have to, get to the pass and fail of things. It's like we have to be able to applaud the effort that's put in too, so that way we can build that confidence for them to be, hey, we may not have reached it this time, but we can reach it next time. What did we do wrong in order for us not to reach it this time? And build up on that. And that gives an opportunity to be able to do that. And I think the hard workers and the people that are living off experience understand that more than those that are gifted. Some people are the beautiful mind with the numbers, the gifted. They see all of the equations, numbers, and letters, and all this other stuff. They see all of that stuff, and they can quantify that. But in regards to effort and sweat equity and how to go about doing that, sometimes just busting your ass is enough. And you have to be in a position where if you do that, people will appreciate you doing that and they'll go do it for you. If you're sitting back and pointing at them and telling them you need to do this, you need to do that, that's not true leadership. And I think sometimes gifted people get caught up in the fact of, well, I know this, I'm knowledgeable about this, and I can do this, and I can do this so easy. Why can't you do it? This is so easy for me. Why can't you do it? That happens a lot. The gifted versus the hard workers. Instead of being the gifted person to say, oh, this is so easy for me to do. Why can't you do that? How about you show me how to do it? Teach me how to fish too. Teach me how to get there. What methods do you have? Maybe I can show you something so where we can build and we can get there together. But if you're too busy trying to, look down on me and tell me that I'm not on your level and I should be on your level, but I'll never get there because I'm not as good as you, that's not fair. And we have a rough time with those things. And as a gifted person, you have to be able to look outside and then even see the hardworking people and go, maybe there's some things I can learn from them. Maybe if I trade some of the skill set I have, and some of those things that come easy to me and show them how to do that, then they can show me some different methods so where I can, apply some of their hardworking traits in order to make myself better. And sometimes that's what the superstars end up doing, is they do that. We can never underestimate the power of just sheer development and will. Sheer development and will sometimes can outlast and out hustle gifts. Sometimes will just does that. And the want and the desire to be better can beat gifts. They're the ones that's going to run their tank until it's empty. They're going to run as hard as they possibly can to get every bit of any kind of talent or experience or effort out of themselves in order to be able to attain where the gifted folks is. And that's how the gifted people get out work. They're not willing to tap into that. They're not willing to go there. They're not willing to go in that to that point where I wanted to kick my own ass into the point of exhaustion to get to what I need or get to the goal that I need to get to. It should be handed to me because I'm this good. It should be given to me because I've been here for this long. I've been with the company, or I've been with the team for this long. So I deserve this. Somebody should give this to me based upon time served. No, it's based on effort. It's based on experience. It's based on how hard you actually work to be able to get there. Who did you make better in the process? Who did you make better in the process to make yourself better? Those are the real questions that you need to be asking yourself, and probably why you're not excelling anywhere, because you aren't giving enough to receive. Experience is the best teacher, and it is. And also the best teacher is you teaching somebody else. Without a doubt. I've learned more teaching people things, learn more about myself teaching people things than any book would tell me, or any kind of tutorial would tell me, or anything like that. Because you flexing the knowledge that you have of the experience that you went through, and then you kind of see what your limits are and how you can expand yourself by teaching somebody to do things. And that helps kind of harness that know-how of you being able to go to another level because of you showing your own advancement by teaching somebody else how to do what you're doing. And that's what the hard workers do. And that's not just like shitting on like gifted people, because gifted people is what the reason why this world goes round, to that point where like I said, there's gifted people that work really, really hard, and those end up being the superstar level folks. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think we have a tough time being the 10,000 hours people that have to work really, really hard to get there. This whole setup takes so much time, as I've said time and time again. I look at so many people that are around me that do certain things, and the amount of time that they put in to be able to get these things and harness what it is that they need to harness. That's all through effort. All my secrets is in the checklisting and checking the boxes. Everything that I have to do, if I have my boxes checked, then I feel more comfortable. I can't rely on just straight memory and coming off the head and all of that shit, because it's gonna be bad. Even doing these podcasts and doing interviews and stuff, if you don't have your questions together, and you don't know exactly what you're going to be talking about in regards to what it is that you want to get out of the guest, then it's going to be a bad interview. You can't just freestyle interviews and ask them all of these mundane questions and expect to be able to get greatness out of them, because you won't. You have to craft it. You have to study who it is that you are talking to, study who it is that about the things about them that not only make them tick, but make them successful. So that way you can have them expound upon the reasons why they are successful and talking to them. Allow them to be able to, you facilitate the direction you want them to go, and then allow them to tell their story. Don't tell their story for them, or put them in a situation where you're asking questions where they can give you one word answers and the interview sounds like shit. It's like, it's a matter of how hard have you prepared? Preparation is probably the most important thing in order for you to be able to get anything off the ground anyway, is be prepared. You can't just on a whim go out here and be like, all right, well, I'm gonna just start a business. I'm gonna start selling stuff. You got to understand the pitfalls, understand the pluses and minuses, and what could happen, how much money is going to cost you to be able to start it, what you're going to spend, what's your, what's your markup as far as, what is it that you're going to be trying to make yourself as far as profitability. All of those things are important, but it's just a matter of you being able to harness that and getting past that thing of saying, I'm a natural, and being able to rely on your preparation and rely on your hard work and rely on your experience to get forward. Sometimes it's tough. It's tough preparing every single time. It's tiring. Sometimes you're doing the same things over and over again, and you're so tired of doing the same things over and over again. But if it's getting you the results, then why would you stop? Can I do something shorter? Can I shorten my, can I make my workflow a little bit different or a little bit easier? That's what experience builds in. That's where the gifted person can tell you the shortcut. Oh man, I don't even do all that. This is what I got to do right here. Finding a better way, finding an easier way, finding a more efficient way to be able to do things. That's all part of that effort. That's all part of that 10,000 hours, because you spent 10,000 hours, putting in that time. But how many times do you really bump your head on shit? You bump your head on shit a lot, right? It took you a lot of failure to be able to get to the point where you have sustainability. You put in that time, you put in that effort. You created that mantra for yourself, and you created that blueprint of success. That wasn't something that was just given to you or just handed to you or something that you just fill out. We don't just go on vibes. Now it's success. Like you gotta be locked in and have your shit together, because not, somebody's gonna come by and scrape your plate. Somebody will see what you're doing, adapt what you're doing, do it better than you, and take the business right off from underneath you. It's up to you for, number one, how much effort you want to put in to be successful, how much time you want to put in to be successful, how much drive you have to be successful, how much you're willing to outwork the next people to get it. And if you can put all those things together, then yeah, you can out hustle a lot of cats and get to a further place than these other people will get to. You'll beat them to the punch. We can't just look at people and just get caught up in that. Oh, why did they have it so easy all the time? Why it seems like they just get everything. It seems like it's so easy for them. Why is it so easy for them and so hard for me? It's hard for you for a reason, because you're developing. You're learning. You're doing long math. to get there. There's nothing wrong with doing long math, but eventually you'll get to the point where you got to find the shortcuts. You got to find the different methods. And that all takes time and experience. The problem is with the gifted folks, when down and they have to use the long math to get there, they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to do it the long way. So if the shortcut is cut off to them, they don't know how to do it the long way, and they stuck. Then they looking back at you like, "Hey man, what's the blueprint? How did you get there? Can you give me the map to be able to get around this way, or maybe these steps that I'm missing?" It helps. Again, that's what the worker gets over the gifted person, is that they learn the methods. They learn the actual manual. They learn the blueprint. They read the manual. They read the instructions. They know how to build it from scratch, as opposed to just being like, all right, well, in my mind, I saw it this way, so I'm just going to make it this way. They know the inner workings of why this piece doesn't go here and why this piece doesn't go there, and why this piece goes there and why this other piece goes there. They know. They spent the time to be able to build it. They understand where that comes from. So what side of it are you on? Are you gifted and excelling? Or are you just gifted and standing there and happy with the fact that you're being gifted? Or are you the 10,000 hours person that's working really, really hard to be able to make it to where the gifted person is? And are you learning any lessons to be able to shorten your porch with that? Because if you're not, you're just going to be continuously working the same path, doing the same things over and over again. Definition of insanity: just running yourself ragged and not getting anywhere, and making the same mistakes over and over again, and falling in the same holes over and over again, because you're not learning different methods. You're not taking that time and not learning from the experiences that you have. All that hard work that you did for your 10,000 hours of training and the theory of that, and you didn't use any of those negative experiences you had to be able to build up on the positive ones. It's all a mind game. It's just a matter of you being able to find the way to be able to get to where you need to go. And nobody's going to give it to you. Ain't nobody gave it to me to work for everything I got, because I'm not gifted. Talented to an extent, not overly talented to the point where this shit is easy for me, because it's not. To continuously bust my tail to get here. And I know a lot of people that listen to this pod and a lot of people that watch it had to bust their tail to be able to get there too. You're not bad. You're not failures. You're not wrong. But the fact that you worked really, really hard too doesn't make you better than somebody else. It just make you a person that worked really, really hard. And you just have to respect the time and effort that you put in. And if you don't respect that and you think that makes you better than the gifted person, or makes you better than anybody else, then you're not going to get anywhere either. All right. So that pretty much wraps it up for today. Thank you for joining the Plain Black Rapper podcast with Nytelife. Please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Make sure that you pick up some merch, scan that QR in the right-hand corner, or contribute $sign Nytelife 3200 for Cash App. Really appreciate y'all. Have a good night. Difficult roads often lead to most beautiful destinations. Shoot your shot. Go for the win. You might make it. Peace.